Friends, this reverse charge mechanism is the topic given to me for today's discussion. Friends, there is definitely some secret of reversing. Whenever you are driving a car, it is easy to drive it in forward direction, but whenever it is required to be derived in the reverse direction, we need extra cautious, extra attentions. So same is the case with the reverse charge mechanism. Objective of the reverse charge mechanism, first we discuss collect tax from the supplier which usually is escaping, means unorganized sector or somebody unable to be found in the list of the department or in the eyes of the department. So just to collect tax on their supplies, this reverse charge is helping it. Tax from organized sector, because largely the reverse charge is from unorganized sector, and it is easy to collect the tax from organized sector because organized sector is always in the scanner of the department. So no tax will be escaped. Hassle-free collection of taxes, because this small unorganized persons will create difficulties for the department, and moreover they have to issue another registration to them, and collection of tax is definitely little bit hassles. So hassle-free collection of tax and easier verification by the tax officer whether tax has been properly discharged on these liabilities, has been correctly paid, is very easily verified. So these are the objective why the reverse charge mechanism is there. And friends, little about the history about the reverse charge. Reverse charge first time introduced in 1997 during the service tax period, and so much opposition that time. It was introduced in CNF agent and goods transport operator service. That time this GTA were used to be known as goods transport operator in the service tax law. So ultimately it was withdrawn in 1998. But friends, in 2001, this again came, and with one services, and continuously expanded over the period, and the list was further expanded in 2012 largely. And friends, the new concept partial reverse charge also was there in service tax regime. Thanks God it is not here in GST regime. It was there in the service tax regime. So partial reverse charge was also introduced in 2012, means something to be paid by the service provider and something to be paid by the service recipient. So this was known as the reverse charge. List was expanded in 2012. Now coming 2017, reverse charge in GST coming from service tax as it is, I can say some exclusion. I will discuss what is excluded from the service tax period to GST period, and this goods is also included now. Although some reverse charge was there in VAT law, means the purchase tax government used to collect during the VAT regime, but we are not going to discuss that. So this is the timeline for reverse charge. Friends, you must be knowing by the time section 298 talks about the reverse charge. Reverse charge means liability to pay tax by the recipient of the supply instead of the supplier. In place of the supplier, the liability will be paid by the recipient of the supply. This is the whole section talks about. And who is the recipient of supply? This is a question now must be coming to your mind. Who is the recipient of the supply? Recipient of the supply is defined under section 293. And how it is defined? It covers both recipient of goods or services. So who is the first? When consideration is payable for goods and services, then who is paying the consideration is considered as recipient of supply. And friends, please do not get confused. Sometimes consignor is liable to pay tax and consignee has paid on behalf of the consignor, ultimately recovering it from the consignor. Here, the consideration paid by the consignor means the person who is liable to pay, and that we have to understand. Might be it has been discharged by third party or his agent. That is not the person paying the consideration. So he will not be considered as a recipient of supply. And second, where no consideration is paid for the goods, then the person who is receiving the goods, whom goods has been delivered or made available. You have must understood by this word delivered and made available in the previous session only, place of supply. So whomever it is made available. In case of services, whom the service are rendered. So these three type of situations where we have to understand the recipient of supply. If you understood the recipient of supply, then only reverse charge can be paid, because section 298 talks about the person who is receiving the supply or the recipient of the supply. Now, how it works, FCM first. Forward charge mechanism under GST means a supplier will supply the service and recipient will pay him consideration plus GST. And in turn, the recipient, when paid to the supplier, please do not get confused that whenever it is paid, then only have to discharge. Basically, it is to be discharged by the supplier. Liability is fixed. Liability is not shifted anywhere. So recipient will pay to the supplier and supplier will deposit the tax. And reverse charge mechanism, consideration is paid without GST and recipient will pay the taxes to the government. And friends, believe me, over the 1 hour you will be able to understand the liability is certain. Under no way it can be discharged by either of the recipient or supplier. It to be discharged either by the supplier or by the recipient. The liability is certain. And once I am saying it is certain, it cannot be shifted also. So you cannot shift the liability of your own. So be careful. Liability is fixed and it is certain also. So friends, section 298 talks about the person liable to pay tax is the recipient of supply, and as specified under section 9(3) means the list of the services notified by the government, that is the specified category of supply paid on reverse charge basis, is the mandate of section 9(3). And section 9(3) further mandates all the provision of this act shall apply to such recipient as if he is the person liable for paying the tax. That you have understood now, means he will be the person liable for compliance of all the provision of law also. Moving further, section 9(4). Friends, section 9(4) is there and was always in controversies. Now it is almost settled, but section 9(4) we will definitely read. Please do not understand that 9(4) is gone away. 9(4) is there and some supplies are now notified also under section 9(4). We will discuss it. Class of registered persons means specify a class of registered. There they were talking about the, if you refer section 9(3), they will refer the services or the goods. In 9(4), class of registered person received from unregistered supplier, means here persons they are talking. If it is received from unregistered person, then only a class of person is liable to pay the tax under reverse charge. I am not discussing the section 9(4) which was introduced as 5,000 plus. That is now removed and that was kept in abeyance for some time, and after from 1st February 2019 new section is in place and we are discussing this new section only. And here also all the provision of this act shall apply to him as a recipient of supply. Exemption from registration, this is very important. This is very important. Why it is important? Suppose you are a person who is making supplies and which these supplies are liable to be taxed under reverse charge, and the recipient of supply will pay the taxes. If you visit section 23, section 24, you will find that they are required to take registration. If section 22 also you see, section 22 say if your turnover is more than the prescribed limit and you are making taxable supplies. So these are taxable supplies provided by a person. So as per law, as per section 22, 23, 24, if we read it, we will find that they are liable to register. But this notification 5 by 2017 exempted them from registration if they are making supply only and only which are covered under reverse charge. Means they are not required to pay any tax, then they are also not required to take the registration or continue with the registration also. But this supplies on which our recipient will pay the tax will consider for the purpose of input tax credit as exempt supply. You must be aware that exempt supply means on which you have to reverse the taxes. Input taxes you have to reverse. So for that purpose, whatever supplies where you are not liable to pay taxes, the person who is receiving the service, he is liable to pay taxes. Then these supply will be considered as exempt supply as per section 17(3) for your purpose. So be careful of it. Quickly we will touch upon the time of supplies also, because it is important also. In case of services, first and foremost, when you made the payment, date of payment is when you have entered in your books of accounts or that bank account got credited, whichever is earlier will be considered as date of payment. Next is the 61st day from the issue of invoice. If payment has not been made within 60 days, then 61st day will be the time of supply. And if both the dates are not available, means payment date is not there and the invoice date is also not available, then entry in the books of accounts will be the time of supply. And in case of associated enterprises, in case of import, entry in the books of accounts or payment, whichever is earlier. So this is time of supply as for the services. Time of supply for goods, let's revisit. This is date of receipt of goods. In case of services, date of receipt of services was not taken into consideration, but in case of goods, it is to be taken consideration. Next is the date of payment by the recipient that we have discussed. And here they are giving 31 days from the date of invoice. In case of goods, it is 31st day. And in case of services, it is 61st day. And entry in the books of accounts, if we are unable to find these all three dates, then entry in the books of accounts will be the time of supply. This is, I just touch upon. So friends, first and foremost, let me discuss the basic principles. This you always apply. If you are not applying these basic principles, you may end up paying the wrong taxes, or may end up paying the taxes which is payable, not paid. So basic principle is rate of tax. All other principles are equally applicable both to the supplier and the recipient, and supplier person making the supply or agent on his behalf, or recipient of supply person making payment of the consideration to whom the supply are made. So quickly, so first we have to understand whatever we are talking, whatever we are discussing is a supply or not. Then we have to understand what is the place of supply for this, because until place of supply is known to us, we are unable to find out the nature of supplies. So first you have to understand whether it is a supply or not. If it is a supply, then you have to understand what is the place of supply. And if it is you have understood the place of supply, then only you will be able to understand nature of supply, because it may export, may import, may interstate, may intrastate. And after that, you must understand what is the rate applicable to it and whether it is covered under the exemption list as notified under section 11 of the CGST Act. Government may exempt anything. So whether it is exempted or not. If you have found out all this, then please try to understand this levy, whether it is covered under section 9(1) or it is covered under 9(3) or 9(4) or something might be 9(5). So this sequence you should maintain always. Then you will not face any problem, I believe. It means exactly, if you want to understand, I want to convey all of you that if something is exempted, it is exempted from tax. We have not required to see it for supplier or for the receiver, whom it is exempted. It is exempted for the both. That is the principle we always understand. So friends, let me have few finer points to understand in the RCM. Means what are the differences between reverse charge and forward charge. So person liable to pay tax is the supplier in case of forward charge, and if it is a reverse charge, means the receiver of the person is a receiver of the supply is person liable to pay tax. Friends, in case of forward charge, there is a limit 10 lakh, 20 lakh or 40 lakh. as given under section 22. So this limit we have to see. If we have crossed this limit, then only we are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Otherwise, no, under the forward charge, otherwise not. So turnover 10 lakh, 20 lakh and 40 lakh, I'm not going to discuss, but forward charge, there is a limit. But for reverse charge, there is no limit. Even you have received services of 10,000 rupees, you may require to get registered and pay the taxes. Friends, now coming to the registration, supplier is liable to register if he is covered under section 22 or section 24 in case of supply is made by him. But in case of reverse charge, whether it is mandatory, yes, law says it is mandatory, but excludes the persons who are not required to take registration under section 23. To my understanding, people have argument because the reverse charge registration is covered under section 24 and section 24 supersedes section 22 only, not section 23. So persons who is not required to get registered, as per section 23 are not required to register for the reverse charge mechanism only. Who are the persons who are covered under section 23? First, who is only in exempt supply, who is making non-GST supplies, or a agriculturist who is having income from agriculture only. So this we have to understand when we will discuss, somebody will discuss registration, then concentrate on these points. Tax payment in case of forward charge, you can pay through cash or credit. Both options are allowed, but reverse charge payment is in cash only allowed. Invoices, any person who is making taxable supply is required to raise a invoice. So all supplies under forward charge, we have to raise invoice. But in case of reverse charge, we may require to raise a invoice under reverse charge, that is known as self-invoice. When we have to raise it, whenever we are receiving a supply from an unregistered person, then the person who is receiving the supply, if he is liable to pay tax under reverse charge, then it is his responsibility to raise a invoice known as self-invoice. And friends, let me tell you, this self-invoice is to be raised on the date of receiving the supply, means receiving the services or receiving the goods. I'm not going to discuss further this. And payment voucher, in case of reverse charge, this is another condition. In case of forward charge, it is not required, but in case of reverse charge, it is a mandatory document. For all the payments made by you, you must raise a payment voucher. Here, the condition is not included that it must be from unregistered person. Even you are receiving a supplies from a registered person and you are making payment under reverse charge, then this document known as payment voucher is required. So you always keep in mind. Friends, now coming to the notification section. Section 93, 94, section 53, 54 of IGST Act. All this required us to issue notification to specify the service or class of person from whom this reverse charge is to be collected and who is the person liable for reverse charge. So these notifications I want to discuss here now. What are these notifications? I made the list. First and foremost, we have to discuss notification 13 by 2017 issued in Central Tax Rate. This includes services only. And friends, there is a similar notification in integrated tax known as notification number 10 by 2017. It is almost copy paste of the CGST notification. Some variance, somewhere it is deviating. We will discuss it in detail. Friends, then we have services and goods both. This particular notification number 7 by 2019 is issued under section 9.4. First two notification First one is the 9.3 notification, second one is the 9.5.3 notification of IGST Act, and third one which we will discuss, that is notification number 7 by 2019. It covered goods and services both, and this notification is issued under section 9.4 as I was discussing. That something is there for 9.4 also. And last not the least, goods which are covered under reverse charge. Goods are covered under reverse charge as per section 9.3. So this we will discuss. So our basic discussion now move from here in these 4 parts. So let me start from the first and foremost item. This is the largest item I can say, and this is the service notification number 13 by 2017. Friends, are you anybody aware how many items are covered under this notification? A wild guess I am inviting from all the participants. You can write in the chat box how many items you expect are covered under this particular notification. 5, 13, 14, 50. Sorry. Nobody is so far given the correct answer. I am just looking for the correct answer. How many items, the entries are covered under this particular notification? Not yet, not yet. Not a single answer is correct. Believe me. So far, I don't want to read, but not single answer is correct. Believe it. Keep on trying, keep on trying. Some are very near, but some are very near, I can say. This Barsa is too close. The closest person is the Barsa. I can see still not got the answer, still not got. Now keep guessing. Yes, yes, I got the answer. That is 20 from Ajay. So we will discuss 20 items in this service head, 20 items in notification number 13. So let me move further. Friends, these is the items I promised all of you to that I will discuss what is the variance from the service tax regime to the GST regime. Manpower supply which was there in service tax regime till 30th June 2017 is no more in the reverse charge in GST. Works contract which was there in service tax, not here in GST. Security service, it was not here till 30th December 2018. Now it is covered. Security services from 1st January 2019, and rent-a-cab was not there till 30th September 2019. Now it is covered from 1st October 2019. So this is the variance. New things are there that as you will see when we will discuss, but these are the things we are both missing in the reverse charge. So first entry, goods transport agency, serial number 1 is the notification. Because this notification is not serially, it had some insertion in between. So that's why these numbers are, I have kept both the numbers. The first entry is the goods transport agency service. This service, I love this service always, and sometime I speak exclusively on this service. Yeah, tomorrow only I am speaking on goods transport agency only. Friends, this is the service which covered under reverse charge in 1997. Later on withdrawn in 98 and reintroduced in 2005. That was the service tax regime. So what is the entry particularly saying? We are discussing compiled entire notification in this PPT. So it will be easy for us to understand. Goods Transport Agency, I am not going to discuss what is exempted from here. Little bit here and there I will definitely touch upon, but I am not going to discuss the entire exemption notifications or what is exempted, because for exemption we have 2-hour class that there you will have the detailed discussion. So what is covered under reverse charge? Who has not paid central tax at the rate of 6%? Means a goods transport agency who is paying taxes at the rate of 12% is not covered under reverse charge. So supplier of service who is not paying taxes at the rate of 12% is covered here. is covered under reverse charge. And goods transport agency, other than goods transport agency, everything is exempted as per entry number 18 of the notification 13 by 2000. Sorry, I got confused because reverse charge notification 13 always pushing me 12 2017 notification number. So that exempt other than goods transport agency, services provided by a person other than goods transport agency. So that we always keep in mind. So who is the recipient? If these 7 category of persons are receiving the services, then reverse charge is applicable. So many conditional things are coming. First, it must be a goods transport agency. Second, he should not paying the taxes at the rate of 12%. And third one is he must be covered under the list of recipient of service. So any factory registered or governed by Factories Act, any society registered under the Society Registration Act or under any law for the time being in force, any cooperative society established, any person registered under CGST, SGST or IGST Act or UTGST Act, any body corporate established by or under any law, any partnership form whether registered or not, including LLP, any casual taxable persons located in taxable territory shall be treated as a person recipient of the service. So if these type of persons are receiving the services and these are the goods transport agency providing the services, then only we are liable to pay taxes. So these are the rates. For reverse charge, the rate is 5% and forward charge rate is 12%. So different rate for different type of supplies are based on the forward charge and reverse charge. So this we must keep in mind. Friends, if these taxes are paid in forward charge, the person who is providing service is eligible for the input tax credit, but in reverse charge, the person who is providing the service is not eligible for the credit. So this is the difference. That's why the government has kept 2 rates. And who is GTA? Because as I mentioned, that person other than goods transport agency services are exempt. A person who issues consignment note in relation to transportation of the goods is considered as GTA. So many times people have raised this query. If I am not raising invoice, means I am outside the tax net. It is, I'm not, tax invoice means I'm not raising the consignment note, I'm out. No, friend, believe me, this anomaly has not been settled. It was there in the service tax law. It is here in the GST law also. But to my understanding, if you are a goods transport agency, this is your mandatory requirement. And friends, time and again it was established that consignment note means receipt of the goods. When you are handing over the goods to some agency who will transport the goods for the purpose of transportation, then whatever receipt he will issue is known as consignment note. So any person who is issuing consignment note, and principal supply is GTA, other ancillary services are also covered here. For reverse charge, always keep in mind whether it is discharge in reverse charge or forward charge, credit is always available to the person who is receiving this supply. So no differentiation whether he is paying taxes at the rate of 12% or he is paying taxes at the rate of 5%. But friends, one very basic condition is attached to this notification, and which is if a person decide to pay tax at the rate of 5%, then he have to go for this scheme, that is reverse charge scheme, for all the supply is made by him, which is covered under GTA. For all the supply receivers, he cannot have dual concept. He has to go by single concept, that is either 5% or 12%. That we always keep in mind. Friends, now a small questions coming to all of you. This reverse charge mechanism option or the forward charge mechanism option, which option is beneficial for you if you are going to take services of a goods transport agency? Which option is beneficial to you? Which transporter you should opt? So this is the beneficial. If somebody want to answer, they can answer in the chat box whether we should go for reverse charge or the forward charge. Friends, few are writing, maximum are writing reverse charge, and they are saying it will depend upon the fact and circumstances. Friends, let me discuss it and then it will be clear. Under this option, that is reverse charge option, 5% tax under reverse charge mechanism. Moreover, whatever tax is paid under reverse charge, the supplier of the service, the said service is considered as exempt supply. In case of GTA also, other services in addition to GTA, then ITC reversal provision, that is 4243 of the CGST Act, has to be borne in mind of GTA. Let me discuss forward charge. Under this option, GTA shall charge at the rate of 12% under forward charge on supply made by him. In such case, the transporter will charge GST at the rate of 12% in the invoice and collect. Also, it is pertinent to note that person availing service is always eligible to input tax credit, whether it is paid by him at the rate of 5% and 12%, irrespective of the rate on the services. Friends, why I raised this question, why I wanted all of you to understand it. When a transporter will raise the invoice in 12%, you will pay 12%, service charges plus 12%. You will get full credit of this. If you are not paying under forward charge, this means you have opted for a transporter who is under reverse charge, then you will pay 5% from your pocket and you will take credit of 5%. Then where is the benefit and loss coming? How we are talking that way, which is beneficial? Because under both the circumstances, you are eligible to take the credit. Friends, if you visit the entry profiting clause in GST, you will find that this clause says whatever credit benefit will come to this GTA, if he is charging GST at the rate of 12%, whatever credit benefit coming to him, he have to reduce his charges with commensurate reduction in the service charges. Means even if he got the credit of 100 rupees, he is supposed to reduce the rates. That benefit will come to the person who is getting the services. They cannot keep it with him. So if he is passing it 100 rupees even to you as a reduction in the service charges, it will come to you and it will always be beneficial. Although only loss in case of forward charge, that you have to pay tax 12% and you are immediately eligible for the credit of that. So that is the only time gap may be there of 1 month in which you may have invested this money. You have to keep this money invested. So this is all about the goods transport agency. Now let's move to the next item, that is serial number 2, is advocate, senior advocate or form of advocate by way of legal services. This is entry number 2. Supplies of services by an individual advocate, including a senior advocate or form of advocate. Any business entity located in taxable territory is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. So whenever you are receiving services, you must discharge service tax under reverse charge if you are a business entity located in taxable territory. And the explanation legal service means any service provided in relation to advice, consultancy, assistance in any branch of law in any manner, and includes representative services before any court, tribunal or authority. So it basically covers all services provided by an advocate. Friends, there may be a person who is just holding a low graduate degree with him and he is not member of a bar council or as a member of any law. I am not exactly aware what are the formalities they have to do to call themselves as an advocate, because advocate is only covered. A person having law graduate is not considered as advocate. So that differentiation will always be there, and whatever legal services they are providing, the legal service definition is this. And one caution I want to give to all of you: please do not please do not get carried away with the legal service definition as provided in notification number 13, because the definition which is provided in notification number 13 of legal services was amended by way of a corrigendum to the notification number 13. So that always keep in mind. And this is the new definition. If you go by the original definition, it was very limited scope. So please do not apply that. Always you have to apply this because it is the notification which is applicable to all of us as amended by way of corrigendum. Friends, any query if coming to your mind, hold it. Definitely we will discuss. And this, although I have kept in for the discussion, earlier this was saying the inward services of advocate include senior advocate by way of representatives before any court, tribunal or authority directly or indirectly to business entity located in taxable territory. So this was difference. Now this is different. So please do not go by that. That was never applicable because that has been amended by way of corrigendum. And friends, these exemptions I thought I must discuss with all of you. It is important discussions in advocate services. If these are covered under these exemptions, then we are not supposed to pay tax on this. So an advocate or partnership firm, individual or other senior, a partnership firm or advocate, or an individual as an advocate other than a senior advocate by way of legal services. Advocate or a partnership firm providing legal services, any person other than business entity, a business entity having turnover up to 20 lakh. So for RCM, which I was discussing, is only applicable for other reverse charge services, because if you are not having turnover which is required you to get registered, then you are not required to pay tax on advocate services also. Third is the arbiter tribunal. Any business entity located in taxable territory is liable to pay taxes on the arbitrational services received by them. Next is the sponsorship services. Category of supply of service provided by way of sponsorship services, and any person may get these sponsorship services, but a body corporate and partnership firm only liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Others are not exempted if sponsorship service provided to an individual or a proprietorship firm or an HUF, then this person who is providing service will liable to pay tax under forward charge. So limited, body corporate and partnership firms are covered under reverse charge. Friends, this is the fifth item, serial number 5. Category of service is the service supplied by central government, state government, union territory or local authority to a business entity. Means services provided by government to a business entity is under reverse charge. So excludes renting of immovable property, which is further covered in the next entries. We will see services specified below, such as services by Department of Post, services in relation to aircraft and transportation of goods by passenger. So friends, this is a wide scope of under this entry. Any service, and just for food for thought to all of you, we are paying filing fees to registrar of companies. Whether filing fees paid to registrar of companies will cover here, this is a question. You keep on discussing. This is not a new service. It was there in service tax regime also, but somehow government don't want to clarify it. So we have to continue with this. And friends, to my understanding, this fees paid to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs or Registrar of Companies also covered under reverse charge. And a exemption has been given if you are paying fees which is not exceeding 5,000 rupees in a year. Means you have paid number of times certain fees to a particular authority and that is not crossing 5,000 in a year, then these services are considered as exempt. That is only I have supplemented to. Renting services, this is the 5A entry, service by central government, state government, providing to any person this renting services, now it is covered under reverse charge. This development right or the floor space index, if this promoter receiving these services, these are covered under reverse charge and promoter is liable to pay tax. Whatever I am discussing is all subject to exemption notifications, and please apply those exemptions. If these are exempt somewhere, then we are not liable to pay tax. Lease premium paid by this promoter is also covered under reverse charge. Now coming to the director remuneration. Friends, so many confusion was there in director remuneration. So many advance ruling created confusion, I can say. Now it is all settled. Thanks to the government for issuing the circular. So now director remuneration, if employer-employee relationship is there, if you have not entered into contract, please have a contract signed by the employer-employees that you are into a employer-employee relationship. So it will not be taxable, but if it is not employer-employee, it may be taxable or you may require to pay tax. Circular 140 clarified that if it is an independent director, you have to pay tax under reverse charge. Independent directors are not considered as employees of the company. If it is an employee director, whether you are deducting TDS under section 192 or you are deducting section TDS under section 194J. If it is 192, it is covered under schedule 3 of the section 7 of the CGST Act, means it is outside the ambit. But if you are deducting TDS under section 194J, then you are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Insurance agent to an insurance company is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Recovery agent to banking company or non-banking finance company is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Copyright to an artist, any artist, musician, composer or photographer having some copyright, if he is giving this copyright, the music company, producer or the like located in taxable territory are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Copyright by an artist, sorry, it should be an author. In case of copyright, first we have discussed about the artist, now this is about an author. So any publisher, he is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. But friend, if you please see this notification by which this entry has been inserted, if at all you want to pay tax under this, because here they have given some sort of option. Here the option has been provided that if this author want to pay tax under forward charge, he can pay under forward charge. Or if he don't want to pay under forward charge, then reverse charge is definitely applicable if it is covered under this notification. So that we have to see, and some sort of declaration is also attached with that particular notification, so that you have to execute also. Member of committee of RBI, that overseeing committee of RBI, then RBI will pay the tax. Next item is the direct selling agent, this known as DSS. Then banks are liable to pay tax under reverse charge in case of direct selling agent. In case of business facilitator, a banking company is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Next item is the business correspondent. Here also, the agent who is providing service to a business correspondent, then business correspondent is liable to pay tax. Now coming to the security services, this is any person providing services other than a body corporate. If body corporate is providing services, then no reverse charge is there. If other than body corporate providing services, then reverse charge is applicable, but it is not applicable if just some person is liable to get registered to deduct TDS then this reverse charge is not applicable, or a composite dealer, then this reverse charge is not applicable. Security service to educational institutions are exempt, to others taxable, and if any other body corporate, reverse charge by body corporate, it is under forward charge. So this is the only cracks here. Next is the renting of immobile property service, that is entry number 19, serial number 15. Services, if this particular person, this is the chart where you can understand if this particular person is a registered supplier with 12% ITC, then forward charge. Nothing to be discussed for reverse charge, that you always keep in mind. If it is unregistered persons, the supplier is unregistered to a body corporate, then body corporate will pay tax under reverse charge, and others it will be exempt. Why he is unregistered? Because his turnover is less than the prescribed limit. If he is registered, then he can pay 5% tax without ITC, except same line of business. Means same line of business, even he is charging tax at the rate of 5%, he is eligible to take the credit. By body corporate, it is under forward charge. Other than body corporate, then to body corporate, it will be reverse charge. Other than body corporate, it will be forward charge. This PPT I will share because time is short. So we have to little bit faster. This lending of securities, please be careful. Somebody is lending his securities. This is a scheme by SEBI. Under this, then the whatever charges are collected, you have to pay taxes under reverse charge. So after discussing this, we move to the services which is covered under notification 10. Here we have two items which are different from the CGST notifications. In CGST notification, 20 items were there. Here we have 22 items. So only 2 items I will discuss. First is the import of services. Any person located in non-taxable territory is the supplier. Any person located in taxable territory other than non-taxable online recipient. Any person located in taxable territory other than non-taxable online recipient. Means if you are receiving online services and you are not a person who is a business entity, I can say, then you are not liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Otherwise, you are liable to pay reverse charge on all import of services. And we know it can be without consideration also. For this purpose, this act supply includes import of service for a consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of business. Sorry, it is must be with consideration whether or not for the business. So this entry is now limited only for the purpose of online information and database access retrieval services. All other services for non-business purposes are exempt. This is the entry. We usually call it Mohit Mineral entry because recently in the Mohit Mineral case, Gujarat High Court given decision that this entry is not proper, it is ultra virus. Transportation of goods by vessel from a place outside India to a custom station. If somebody transporting goods from outside India, then they said it is liability of the person whoever receiving these goods. So this is importer basically. So this held as a ultra virus in the law. So government is saying not required to pay tax. Here you are, it is not government is not accepted so far. They have not issued any clarification, but it is the ultra virus entry. So after discussing this, let me move to the goods and services. This entry, this notification is coming from section 9(4). And friends, nothing to worry much. It is just for promoters only. Whenever a promoter, let me explain it. I'm not going by the wordings of the slide or the notification. Basically, if a builder, developer or promoter buying goods from unregistered person and it is more than 80% of his total purchases, then he is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. This is the only entry. Rate of tax is 12%. But in case of cements, if he has procured cement from unregistered persons, then he is liable to pay tax on the cement at the rate applicable on the cement, not at the rate of 18%. And cement is the item where he is mandatorily required to pay tax under reverse charge, even it is part of 20% of the value. In case of capital goods also, the promoter is liable to pay tax. So this was the entry 4. Now moving to the goods, friends, the total 8 entries are there in the goods, that is notification number 4 by 2017. And incidentally, both the act has a same notification number 4 by 2017. So first we understand the agriculturist because it is covering largely the agriculturist. Agriculturist means individual or HUF family who undertakes cultivation of land by his own labor, by the labor of the family, by servant on wages payable in case or kind, by hired labor or under personal supervision of any member of the family. And agriculturist to the extent of the supply of produce out of cultivation of land shall not be eligible for registration, shall not be liable for registration. Section 23 says agriculturists are not required to register. So as they are not required to register, what are the items? First is the cashew nut, not sealed or peeled. The supplier must be an agriculturist and recipient. Any registered person who is buying from agriculturist cashew nuts are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. Next item coming into it, the tobacco leaves. The supplier is the agriculturist or any person who is buying tobacco leaves from the agriculturist are liable to pay tax. Bidi wrapper leaves and popularly known as tendu leaves. Silk yarn. Supplier any person who manufactures silk yarn from raw silk and silkworm cocoon, and recipient must be a registered person. Next item is the raw cotton. Supplier is agriculturist or any person who is buying, any registered person is liable to pay tax under reverse charge. And self-invoicing you must be keeping in mind whenever we are buying goods from unregistered person or receiving services from unregistered person, we are liable for self-invoicing. So supply of lotteries, state governments, when selling lotteries to the lottery distributor agent, they are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. This is very important entry, friends. Used vehicles, seized or confiscated goods. It is not only covering the used vehicles, it is also covering the confiscated goods also. Old and used goods, waste and scrap. When central government or state government or local authorities are selling this, then any registered person who is buying this are liable to pay tax under reverse charge. This priority sector lending certificates by registered person to another registered person are covered under reverse charge. So friends, this is all about the reverse charge. I thought I should discuss, and issues means question answer I will take. A person involved in the transportation of coal will be covered in transportation of goods by road, exempt or GTA. A person involved in transportation of goods, maybe he is a lorry owner or a goods transport agency. If he is a goods transport agency, then definitely he is a GTA. Coal is not exceptional to this. Legal services by an advocate to individual is liable to GST. If it is non-business purpose, non-business, then it is not liable for GST. What is the difference between advocate and senior advocate? Sorry, sir, it is not. What is the difference between a chartered accountant and a senior chartered accountant? I am unable to find out. Just joking, my friend. I think it is as per Bar Council. They have some protocol for this. Sir, if invoice is received after 60 days, will interest is applicable? Yes, sir. The interest is applicable if invoice is received after 61 days, because 61 days from the date of invoice. Sir, please clarify point 5 and 5 renting of immovable property. Renting of immovable property, if you have taken on rent from government, then you are liable to pay tax. 5 excludes this entry because 5A was later on inserted. First they excluded, then they thought let it be, bring it to reverse charge only. Mr. Shyam Sundar want to know, I am a director of a private limited company which provides wholly exempt services. I am a director of a private limited company which provides wholly exempt services. The director was paid sitting fees and liable for RCM. In this case, whether company should register itself GST and pay under RCM or any other exemption from registration. Sir, very pertinent questions, very valid questions. Section 23 says a person, a company, includes a company, those who are only in exempt supply is not required to take registration. Section 24 says if you are receiving a person liable to pay tax under reverse charge, you should get registered. But Section 24 not superseding Section 23. That we keep in mind. So it is only superseding Section 22. If you are not covered for registration under Section 22 and not covered under Section 24 for registration, except for RCM, you can take this route. To my understanding, you are not required to pay tax. So thank you very much for your patient listening.